Yo, what is going on, guys? This is Roberto Diaz. Today we're going to be looking at the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, 10K, 12K. To be honest, this camera has such a long name. It's probably the worst name ever in history of camera names ever, but that's fine because we're going to be talking about this amazing camera. All the things I'm going to be talking about also apply to the 4K version of this camera. So if you're thinking about saving a few bucks and just getting a 4K version, you're going to have the same issues or you're going to like the same things about them. So I recently picked up this camera not even knowing what to think. I was very excited for the EOS R5, and out of nowhere in my excitement, I randomly thought to myself, why don't I just go buy this camera? To be honest, I don't even know why I bought it. There's no real reason. I just did it and I don't regret it. And that's what this video is going to be about today. Been using this camera for about a month or so, and I can honestly say the quality coming out of this camera is amazing. We're going to hear a lot about that later. There's a few things that I wish were different, but that's okay because there is no perfect camera. And that's why we're going to be looking into what type of shooter is this camera for. We all know there's different styles of shooting. There's different needs. There's different people that do different things. So for this camera, what type of shooter is a right shooter? I'm going to be pointing out my favorite things and some things that I'm not so happy about. Maybe you could align your priorities and say, I don't like this as much. Maybe I like this a little bit more. So maybe this camera is for me, or maybe this camera is not for me. So hopefully this video is helpful, guys. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Please make sure to hit that bell, be notified on my next upload. And please comment down below if you guys have any ideas. Yeah, I did a little. This is not a perfect camera, and it's not meant for everyone. So let's find out a few of the things that I don't like about this camera. Number one, let me change my battery. No, I'm just kidding. That's the issue that this camera has, battery life. This has to be the worst camera battery life ever in history of life of cameras ever. Honestly, I don't even consider this camera to be powered by batteries. That's how bad this camera eats batteries. This is not a camera that you should use the battery coming from it, especially the battery that came from Blackmagic. It's horrible. It's worse than those batteries that you can buy on Amazon for cheap. For me, my usage, I'm shooting 6K raw maxed out. I get about 15-20 minutes per battery. A lot of people say they get 40 minutes. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how they're doing it. I only get about 15-20 minutes every single time, and I have genuine Canon batteries, but I'm not getting that full juice. There's not a lot to say about batteries, to be honest. If the battery is something you really worry about, I wouldn't be totally bummed out since there's a few different solutions. For example, you can get a top handle grip with a battery. You can get a V mount. There's also a great solution that I've seen for people doing music videos. You can actually power this camera for up to 4 to 5 hours with the Ronin S through a little cable. So I'll link that cable down below if you guys want to check it out. You can either buy a bunch of batteries or you can upgrade to a V-mount battery and power this camera. Just make sure to check out the voltage because I've seen a lot of people burn their Blackmagic. They're not buying the right cables or they're not buying the right things they need to power it correctly. So just be a little careful when you're doing that. You don't want to blow it up. You don't want to do that. Second thing that I don't enjoy about this camera, and it's okay because it's not perfect. Not trying to justify it because I just bought it. Just letting you guys know, the autofocus, it's not there. The autofocus went running on a journey and never came back. This autofocus is not going to be a Canon dual pixel. It's not going to be some Sony autofocus. All you get in this camera is a little button to try to get focus, and sometimes it gets focus, but it's just once just to get you going, and there you're stuck because you're not going to be able to get continuous autofocus in video for this camera. So if you're a person that likes to vlog or you're a person that doesn't know how to manually focus, you're gonna struggle. If you wanna grow and you wanna pursue cinematography or you wanna become a better director, one of the things that you should know is focus pulling. That's literally hands down one of the simplest things that you should know, and how to use focus peaking. If you don't know how to use focus peaking, you need to learn how to use it. Focus peaking is one of the most useful tools. If you're worried about the autofocus, as long as you're not vlogging, you should be fine on this camera. It's not something so hard to learn. If you really want to plan out your shots and you really want to do the best, I think manual focus is the best way to go. You'll have way more control than using autofocus, because autofocus, you don't know what can happen. You're literally trusting a camera and you don't know what it could do. It could randomly change its mind and say, I don't want to focus on you, I want to focus on this. So it just depends on what your needs are. If you like autofocus, I personally love it on Canon cameras. It's very useful if you're vlogging or if you have a talking head subject, I don't want to get out of focus when I'm moving. So who truly is this camera for? It's definitely not for a vlogger. If you're trying to vlog on this thing, first, you're never gonna make it anywhere because your whole backpack is gonna have to be filled with batteries. You're not gonna have continuous autofocus, so that's something that you're gonna lack. The body isn't tiny enough to actually be portable to vlog. I've seen people vlog with it. You're better off vlogging with something more small or something that you can actually move around. This thing's gonna break your wrist eventually if you're trying to vlog with it. Not a great idea. This camera is for someone truly looking for the best video quality at a low price. If you're trying to save bucks and you want amazing image quality with control, then this camera's for you. If you plan on modifying your footage and shooting flat, if you plan on editing and pushing your videos more than the normal person would, this camera's for you. If you plan on not editing your footage and just throwing it up online, I wouldn't get this camera. There's a lot of mixed feelings about the color science from Blackmagic. I personally am neutral. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad either. I think it's just Blackmagic and what they're doing. I don't mind it. I personally don't hate it. It depends on what your needs are. If you're shooting music videos, if you're shooting something where you actually need to edit and really manipulate your footage, this camera is going to be for you. This camera is a complete bargain. And to be honest, this is one of my favorite purchases that I've done this year in 2020. And I've done a lot of stupid purchases, and this is one of my favorite ones. I don't regret it at all. Just being able to shoot raw is one of my favorite things, and that takes us to my favorite thing about this camera. You're able to record externally to an SSD. The files to me aren't so clunky where they feel excessive and unuseful like the R5. I currently bought those T5 drives from Samsung, and you can literally record for 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 6K raw, nonstop. They're so affordable. They're just so easy to use. You literally plug it in an SSD and you're ready to go. I love that. I love that I can record for hours. And if I wanted to shoot ProRes, I could literally record for I don't even know how long. I just love how cheap these drives are. I just love how usable they are. And I can edit straight from them. I don't have to worry about transferring the SSD into my computer and then from my computer into my program. So all these huge files, they're not going into my computer. They're just going straight off the SSD, and it's not touching my computer, which is something I love. So that's my favorite thing, recording into SSDs. You can edit straight off of them. It's the best thing ever. If you didn't know that, now you know. Second thing, I want to put this camera in perspective to other cameras. I've been using the Canon C500 a lot, and to be honest, I can honestly compare this camera and line it up to a C500 on the quality that it gets. It's crazy. It's obviously not as usable. The battery isn't as good. But the image quality itself, not the color science, but the image quality and the detail, the color detail, it's such a big usable file that you can literally push it to whatever you desire. It's a very high quality camera. I'd say the image quality coming out of this thing competes with higher up cinema cameras. I think for the price, you cannot buy a cheaper cinema camera. I plan on doing future music videos with this camera. I plan on doing a lot of real estate video with this camera. I'm just excited to keep trying it out. I haven't been able to shoot that much content, but the stuff that I've been able to capture from this camera is absolutely amazing. These are my thoughts on this amazing camera. If you guys have any questions or any tests that you would like me to do, please let me know. And once again, guys, my name is Roberto Diaz. I hope you enjoy this tiny, small, short little overview on this camera. I'll see you next time. You better subscribe. And coming up next, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. One of the things about the Blackmagic camera is that it's absolutely amazing. The things that you've never heard about the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. Thank you.